Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining today. This is Ryan from Athletic Conceptual Training. Joining me today is Terry Adams from Athletic Conceptual Training, uh, coming out of state of Georgia. Say what's up, Terry.
What's going on?
Hey man, thank you for joining me, helping me with this one. We have an absolute legend. We have an absolute track and field savant. Let me tell you. I just got to tell you guys a little bit about him before we introduce him here today. He is a track and field coach with 25 years of experience in developing high performance athletes. He is a champion sprinter and jumper out of Morgan State University. He holds multiple titles in the MEAC and the IC4A conferences. He got inducted into his high school Hall of Fame, at Trevor G. Brown High School, and then he was inducted into the State Hall of Fame, Arizona. He is coached at every level from youth to elite. He is the founder of Jones Elite Training out there in North Carolina. He coached at Cal State, East Bay, Hayward from 2011 to 2015 and led them to NCAA All American honors and conference champions. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Ralph Jones. Yes, sir. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. That was a great intro. I mean, you were saying all that stuff. I was looking around, waiting for somebody else to come in.
Yeah.
I can't believe I did all that stuff. Not a little old me.
Hey, hey. Oh man, I so we like to hear from you, get to know you, see what you've been up to and what you have planned going forward. Um, you ready to jump in? Got your water? You good?
Let's do it. Let's do it. That's
All
seltzer
right.
water.
So founding Jones Elite Training, what inspired you to establish Jones Elite Training, and how was your vision evolved since its inception?
I was actually inspired while at Cal State East Bay.
Okay.
Um, recruiting in the Bay Area, Hayward, Oakland, Castro Valley, just far and wide. We would see hundreds of talented, undertrained kids who just didn't have marks for scholarships, of which I didn't have many, and a lot of kids were just falling through the cracks. You know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I always looked at coaching as you know a calling that God placed me into a position to be able to help and serve. And I just felt like I wasn't able to touch as many from the coaching side as I wanted to, because you can't give everybody scholarships, and then
Right.
you know, I feel like one of the things that I do really well, and you say it's a gift or a blessing, but I think I have a really good eye for talent.
Mm.
I can see kids that a lot of people would never think had anything going. I know that kid's gonna be good. And I would see that a lot. And when I was at the junior college level, I could take chances on those kids because it didn't cost much to get them. But in the Bay Area at that time, right? When Facebook went public and all these new millionaires and people started buying up stuff and real estate and everything is going, like everything is expensive. I mean, it's still
Mm-hmm.
expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So, I began holding free clinics on campus. Um, and then I realized that in order to have, for these kids to have a chance to use their God-given ability to earn a scholarship, then I would need to get them at the grassroots level.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait until they got to college or hope that something happened, because from the Bay, for a lot of those kids, if they don't go to school on an athletic scholarship or an academic scholarships and they get caught in the hood, eh, eh, the statistics ain't good for them kids. So um, I wanted to do something different. So I went back to start looking at the grassroots and start having these free clinics and offering opportunities for, I'd invite Mission Valley Track Club and the CA Track Club with Coach Jamal Cooks and, Castro Valley, Track Club with Dooney Jones and, all those guys. And they bring the kids. And number one, it was an opportunity to get um, kids from the local communities up on a college campus
Mm,
to kind of um, um, it- you almost like it was their intro into this is what college is like.
that's
And
big.
and it's you can touch it, and then that kind of got my wheels turning when I had parents asking me if I coach privately. I didn't even know what private coaching was, and I do one-on-one and all this stuff. And I start dabbling around and playing around with it while I was at Cal State East Bay. Then, after leaving the Bay and moving to North Carolina, I got out of college coaching and started doing it full time. And since its inception, it's kind of evolved into an elite high performance training program and coaching consulting program, impacting coaches and athletes all over the region and in various states.
Yeah, that's so amazing. Um, Talking about, training philosophy, can you elaborate on your coaching philosophy and how it influences your approach to training athletes from different levels, especially, like you talk about kids from the grassroots?
Yeah, so my philosophy of training is based on long-term athletic development, um, as well as kind of the interdisciplinary approach to athlete development. A lot of things more number one that everything that we do is athlete driven, athlete centered. Um, the long term athletic development model is centered on kind of long term planning and an understanding of human development. Um, the model of long term development kind of provides a framework that governs participation, training, competition, physical, technical, tactical, theoretical, energy system development, psychological development, and recovery pathways. So,
Mm,
it kind of this philosophy, if you will, kind of influences my approach to training because it forces me to also consider the athlete's development and when to remove or add secondary event development to enhance their primary event selection. So you're not just designing workouts, okay? You're designing comprehensive strategic programming based on athletic progressions.
yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you touched on something that I was going to ask next, and that's, how do you tailor these sessions to meet the needs of of your developing athletes? And
Yeah. Well, first, I before I work with any athlete, I conduct a functional movement screen assessment.
mhm.
Every athlete, I don't care if it's a youth, pro athlete, high school athlete, whatever, um, you know, they're given a functional movement screen analysis, and then this assessment it's pretty objective. You either can or you can't.
Okay.
One, two, three. It's
Yep.
real simple. Um, so by having them that allows me to individualize the training on specific areas of need for each athlete while also kind of developing them holistically.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a. It's really cool. I mean, what kind of would you or can you let us know what kind of maybe one or two drills that you do use to assess? Like, what if I'm coming in? What do I got? Do I got to run a mile?
You know, see, I think that's a misconception that people have. You know, my job or my work is speed. Like, you coming to me to get faster. And whatever that looks like. When you talk about speed and getting people faster, first thing they think of is I gotta run. I gotta
Yeah.
sprint this. I got what kind of shoes I gotta bring. What got but functional movement is just that. It's moving functionally. One of the things and one of the reasons why I have a job is because kids don't play no more.
Mm.
Um, there's a lot of focus on specialization at an early age, which is detrimental to kids' long-term development.
Yeah.
There's I mean, the obvious one of social media and devices and this and that, and kids aren't playing anymore. So a lot of the things that I did as a kid or people from my generation to be athletic, kids aren't doing that anymore, and they can't move. They can't do basic fundamental motor skills. So my
Mm.
background, I have a master's degree in physical education. So my expertise is in movement. Movement starts at the youth ages. So getting kids to play. Kids don't play anymore.
Yeah.
So in with the functional movement screen, it's 7 basic movements: deep squat, inline lunge, hurdle step, shoulder mobility, um, um, hamstring or dynamic flexibility, and
Mm-hmm.
then um, unilateral and bilateral extensions for stability.
Got it.
Just by you know looking at how people move, I can tell a lot about what their training program is going to be. So and then it's scored. Each test is scored individually, 1 through 3, and then you add it up and it's a max score of 24. So, I
Okay.
know if someone comes in and they're between 18 and 24, they got some pretty good bones. They got a
Yeah.
good foundation. Um, for me, that critical red line zone is, 13 or lower. We got some problems. We got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
So before we even start running or jumping or doing any of that stuff, we got to work on these deficiencies to get you moving right, because a
Right.
lot of it is just about getting in the right positions to be efficient. Because if I get you out here and we just start doing a bunch of workouts, you're gonna get hurt, and we ain't gonna know why. Now you're gonna have these reoccurring injuries, and instead of focusing on development, we focusing on rehab.
Right.
Uh, so I
What
got a
about? Oh, go ahead.
oh, just real quick. Just kind of following up on on that. Uh, when you what's your average like when it comes to kids that come in? Do you see more kids in the middle, or do you see more kids towards like the lower ends?
No, I say between 15 and 18. The kids the kids that I get, because the kids that I get now are serious about their sport. Like,
Mm.
number one, I'm not free like I used to
Mm-hmm.
be. So and how they used to say, yesterday's price ain't today's price. So um you know w- when those price points change and you get people who are serious about their investment.
Yeah.
So when they usually, I'm not getting people that are just trying to get their kid in an activity. Hey, we're trying to get a scholarship. We're trying to make a team. We're trying to do X, Y, and Z. We're trying to have a good high school experience, whatever the case may be. They are coming to me because they do some stuff good already, but they just don't know how to get to the next level, or they feel like there's something missing and they don't know what or how to fix it.
I see.
Okay,
Good question, though.
nice.
Um. So, in your group sessions, do you have a balance of individual attention and like making a competitive environment? How do you how do you foster that and have that in your group settings?
I think we're able to balance individual attention while fostering a competitive, collaborative environment among our athletes by having a meaningful relationship with each of our athletes.
Mm.
I think that can be overstated, the importance of relationship um, and following our principles. I'm I like um, steps. I'm real big on steps and quotes and threes and fours. So with my athletes, all of my athletes and parents, when it's a relationship first and foremost. That's the first thing I led with, was having a relationship. So in any relationship, whether it's a marriage, you know, uh, friendship, cousins, what have you, three things have to be present in order for that to be a successful relationship. First, I ask, can I trust you? Um, in the relationship as a coach, I have to be able to trust that you are going to follow my instructions and you are going to allow my instructions to fail you. Don't fail my instructions. Um, you have to trust that I have your best interests at hand. So trust goes both ways. We have to be able to trust each other. When I ask you to do something, you have to trust that I'm asking you because I know what I'm talking about. I don't have time. We got 90 minutes. Your parents are paying for 90 minutes. They need to get every minute. They need to get something out of it. So I don't have time. They ain't paying for you to ask questions,
Mm-hmm.
can I trust you? Number two is, are you committed to excellence? They need to know that I'm committed to excellence. I need to know that you committed. I need to know that when it's raining outside and we don't have in-person practice and I send a workout, you committed to getting that workout done, whether coach
Mm.
is there or not. You know that I'm putting in the work and I'm gonna be committed to making you great. You got to be committed to making you great.
Man, that's
Um,
big. That's big. Wow.
and last thing is and often gets overlooked. Do you care? Athletes need to know that my coach cares about me.
Mm.
I need to know that my athletes care. They care they about what I'm doing enough to appreciate all the work and energy and time that I'm putting into to them. I got my own kids who are their age. So you got to care that if I'm with you, somebody at home ain't getting that time. And that's the one commodity that you can't get back. So um, you know, all of those three things have to be: can I trust you? Are you committed to excellence? And do you care? And that's kind of the relationship part. From a environment part, and creating that collaborative environment, we get our parents and athletes to understand that the development is a process and it's a journey that we're teaching that they must be willing to embrace.
Mm.
um, 4 steps. Number one, we're teaching kids how to compete. I think you know, far too many times we want to make everything nice. And no, we compete. Life is about competition. You go out in the world, you compete. So we get them comfortable with competing, and it's not necessarily against each other. Every day we compete against ourselves. When you talk
Man,
about mental health challenges, you talking about depression, all kind of things. It's a competition for your sanity. So we teach them that competition is good, it's healthy, and to embrace it and to be okay with it. Then we teach them they got to learn to compete, then they got to learn how to win.
mm,
Every day we want our kids to leave with a win of some sort. What does that? It's going to be different for different people. For some people, it might be you can't touch your toes a day. You only got to your shins. Next practice, I need you to get to your ankles. By the end of the week, you touching your toes. Those are wins. It could be after practice, you ate fast food next practice, I want you to eat something that's high in protein, or, you know, whatever the situation may be. Or it can be you just executing a drill, but you
Mhm.
leaving there with a win. So every day, we are deliberately finding wins for every single one of our athletes. Um, then they have to learn how to handle winning. What does that look like? How do you handle? This is an expectation of what we do. It's not, oh, I won and I'm surprised. No, this is what we do. It's a part of our DNA. If they can do those three things, they can learn how to compete, they can learn how to win, they can learn how to handle winning. They do those three things, then they become champions. Those that can will.
Man, that's dropping knowledge, dropping bars for all those kids who don't who
Oh
need to
Take
yeah.
know
that, take
right.
that, take that.
Yeah.
Just drop the mic on
Right.
them. Hey.
Yo, no, this is really cool, and I love this opportunity because this is kind of not this is exactly why we're bringing this type of content and high caliber people like yourself, ladies and gentlemen. You're getting it from a champion, a coach on what it takes to be a champion. I mean, please take notes. We'll drop some clips, but guys, this is valuable knowledge. Um, Segueing into the next question, could you share a memorable story, success story from your coaching career that highlights the impact of your training methods? So, who's your star athlete? Who's the protege?
You know, um, I'm a little different when it comes to success and how I measure success and whatnot. The most memorable stories that kind of highlight my impact is all the coaches that I've had the honor to mentor, to
Mm,
help, and inspire, who are doing God's work of serving people, and serving our kids. I'm a firm believer that what you do for yourself, you take to your grave. What you do for others, you leave behind. So, um, the true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. So, I'm hopeful that, when my time on this earth is up, that I've left a forest full of shade. So whether it's through the coaches, whether it's through, athletes, that are going on. I mean, when talking about, success, I've had the great honor and privilege, and I've been blessed from my high school days until just recently this past weekend, where last week, where we won our school's first ever indoor state title. It's
yeah,
like,
congratulations, by the way.
thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, we had some great performances, so there's a lot of individual stories. There's not one great success story
Hmm.
that I can say that. And I think trying to narrow it down to one would take away from all the others that I've had, because there've been so many. But it, there were the people behind the scenes, the unsung heroes, the parents who are driving here and there and paying,
Man.
those fees, and making those sacrifices. There are, coaches, assistant coaches who, don't get, the love, who are making those relationships, who, when Coach Jones is an a-hole, this is the good cop, bad cop, you know,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
need that, and they know
Yeah.
their role.
Hmm.
So, my most memorable stories are the impacts of all the coaches who are now doing great things and inspiring the next generation. And I just feel like, when I go back to the beginning, when I was sitting on that hill, Cal State East Bay, looking down at all them kids running and thinking about how I can touch as many of those athletes' lives as possible. I can't do it by myself. So being able to have people, like-minded people, that I put in position, whether they were coaches or whether they were athletes who became coaches, or whether they were just you know, volunteers. All of those things are probably what make me what I'm most proud of as a coach.
Yeah,
Okay.
Noah Hingston definitely let us know that you were inspiration to him.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw some of the pictures and videos that we posted from his Hall of Fame ceremony that we just went to. It was really cool to see so much success. And when I mean success, I don't mean people who just made a bunch of money and things like that, but how many people came out the mud and made something out of themselves right there in Oakland, California.
Hmm.
There was a lot of, we get a lot of the negative talk, but and right there in old Tech High School were
Absolutely.
legends,
Absolutely.
absolute legends. um, but yeah, it's man, I really appreciate that. And even for me right now, I'm learning so much right now from you, and I'm taking that and applying it to my to my coaching style too. You know, um,
That's love.
So, so question, coach.
Yep.
So I know you said, everybody, you look at it as a whole for your success stories. So tell us, um, do you have a most rememberable moment that may have been like while you were coaching that maybe someone didn't believe in themselves and you kind of helped them uh kind of gain that confidence?
Yeah, so as a I give you two quick ones. So first, I wanna pay um homage to one of my dear brothers and mentors, Al Shirley from um Central Arizona College, recently Pima Community College, just passed away here in December.
hmm,
Um, but probably one of the most brilliant coaches, one of the when you talk about goats, this man from a relationship standpoint, he was an old, you know kind of chubby old black dude from Mississippi that he was like the bloodhound. He just slow mo. You think, man, that dude ain't dangerous. Well, he'd take you. Man, he was just constantly plotting and had all these. He used to just give me jewels as a young coach. I remember as a young coach, I had these new certifications, and I'm like, um, um, I wanted the athletes to know how smart I was. So I'm
yeah.
out there coaching, and we had this really good jumper named Patty Sylvester. She's from Grenada, and um, doing the triple jump, and I'm trying to have her hit these positions, and you gotta put an ultimate and get the hips up underneath and step through here, and I'm giving her all these words, and I'm using all this scientific diction, and Coach Shirley was calling me up, was like, Coach, like less is more, and he was like, you want to know what makes great coaches? I thought he was gonna say something profound. He was like, those who can tell the best lies. Like, what? So watch this. Hey, bro, you remember when we did this, and this in practice? All you gotta do is do this and do this, and you already jumped at that. Girl went out there. I'm like, what did you? I like he just kept it simple. Just kept it simple. He used to say stuff like, you know, kid didn't run that well. Kid, what do I need to do? Got to run faster. you know I mean, so it was just little jewels like that he used to give me, in athletes and whatnot, that really helped me simplify my coaching and have more fun with it. And the second story was, once I got it, I started looking at athletes a lot differently. I stopped looking at performance and I started looking at people. So we were at a national championship, and um, we were we were one of the teams, to beat, and we were pursuing. I think our second. We were trying to go back to back, and we had a kid who was he was a stud 400-meter runner on our 4x4 relay team, and we're at the national championship. He decides he don't want to come to practice. Now, we at the national championship, and you just gonna stay in the hotel. So we at the track, and I'm getting all the relay teams together, and I called the guy, "Hey, where's so and so?" Oh, he said he's tired, so he's resting for the race. I said, oh, he's tired, huh? So I called all the guys in, and I said, "Hey, my man is not running." I said, so I had an idea of who we had a stack team, so I'm gonna replace him with someone that was maybe not as fast, but just as fast. And then there was this kid on the team. He wasn't very fast. He was only there because he was just so loyal, and he was a leader. He was kind of our team leader, and all the guys, like, he was, the rah rah guy. And the guy said, "Put Micah on." Like, Micah? He run 50 seconds. I ain't put him like Leon on 40 seconds. I ain't putting the 50 in there. No, we trying to win. And they like, "Coach, put Mike on." I'm like, "Dog, like, Micah ain't gonna run that fast." They said, "Whatever he don't run, we'll make up for it."
Mm.
I said, "Y'all sure about that?" Hey, Coach, we want Micah to run.
Okay. Yeah.
Man, God, Lord, please. So, number one, I trusted. We go back to, can I trust you? Are you committed to you? I trusted my athletes. Um, and I let them make that decision. Michael ran the race of his life. That dude dropped 48 seconds.
Mm.
He's
Mm.
a 50-second 400 guy. Dropped 48 seconds. And every single one of them guys ran a second faster than they had run before. We won the national championship.
Hey.
That right there taught me you can't measure what's in somebody.
Yes.
There's more to coaching. There's the science of coaching, and then there's the art of coaching, and understanding when to pair the two and when to separate them. That right there was me um being being an artist and allowing the canvas to take shape on
Yeah.
its own. So now, like, I don't ever tell a kid what they can and what they can't do. I just ask them how bad they want it.
Shoot, could you imagine not showing up after your homies root for you though?
Hey, man, he wanted to fight me too. I was young at the time too. I was ready.
Oh man.
Oh, he was mad. Oh, he was, and everybody in the pictures, you sitting on the sideline, you tired,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that was a life lesson for him. It was, I'm a firm believer in discipline is not what you do to someone, it's what you do for them.
Mm.
And sometimes, as they say, God gotta shake you up to wake you up. Sometimes you got to get shook, you know.
Yo, you got the bars for days. That's the fourth one.
I mean, I'm the freestyle king over here.
Oh man, that's really cool. That's really cool. I love that story.
Yeah, that's fine.
um, just tapping into talking about adapting to trends. Uh, with the evolving landscape of sports performance training, how do you stay updated with the latest methods and incorporate them into your programs?
Trends. Well, first of all, I don't chase trends. I follow the science.
Yeah.
I learned that simple is better. I learned that early on in my career, and I follow specific training principles uh, that have been the same since the dawn of time when it comes to training. Um, but I keep it modern and relevant. Um, but at the end of the day, people want results. People want results. So I stay updated by just continuing to produce results. Um, I also consult with various coaches at various levels, and we exchange training ideas. We talk programming. We discuss methodology. Um, I think the key to being a great coach is never stop learning. You're always in search of knowledge and on that quest of understanding and um when you think you know it all, I think that's when you start to lose an edge as a coach. I'll go, you know, when I was in the Bay, and I started losing some confidence in my coach, because I'd come from a school where I was coaching. This was my first head coaching job, and I had an idea of what my program was going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at Cal State East Bay, I had four different athletic directors in 4 years. Not all, only one of them had any track background or knew anything or really cared about track and field. So the athletes that had the lowest budget of anybody in the conference, and it was like, we want to win championships, but we want to give you a shoestring budget, and we want you to, um, make, you know, gold, out of copper. So I'm like, how does that happen? And so I kind of started changing the way that I coached and the way that I did things. And it really, like, I literally forgot how to coach. Like, I sucked as a coach in my first 2 years. Like, I forgot how to coach sprinters, but I was doing things. I was trying to figure it out. And two, there were a handful of coaches, man. The Bay, the Bay brought me back. And there are a couple people I want to shout out. Number one, rest in peace. Mike Reed was a legend when it comes to sprinting. He was out of Sacramento, up at um, ARC Community College, and then um, like he just, I would go down and just watch him practice. It's a junior college coach. I'm the D2. This is a junior college guy. And I'm sitting there asking him about training. And he got mad at me and was like, Coach, like, like, you know what to do. Like, why you asking me? Like, and he reminded me of all the accomplishments that I had and all the things that I had done. And he spoke confidence and life back into me and made me remember, like, oh, you better get off of this woe is me stuff. Then there was Arnold Brewer and Dooney Jones. Dooney is I think now at Chabot College and still at Castro Valley High School. And then Arnold Brewer, from the great Berkeley High School days, he was at James Logan when they was killing it, and then he was helping Dooney at Castro Valley, and then he was at Academy of the Arts when they was making all that history. Old cat, 60 plus years old, still out there triple jumping, bounding, and like, I would go watch these guys, and I would learn so much from these high school coaches. And I would ask questions, and I would humble myself, and I've always kept good coaches who I felt were smarter or knew something, like the Noah Hinkstons, the Mike Tomasellos, the um, you know, Andrew Murphy. It can't come over from Morgan State, who's now the head coach at Alabama A&M. I just Ron Davis, rest in peace, who was a legendary Olympic distance coach from, best friends with John Carlos, was at San Jose Speed City on the first integrated NCAA cross country. Like, all these guys, I had the opportunity to work with and watch, and Curtis Taylor, who was at Laney College at the time, who's now at Oregon. I would go and just watch his practices and just watch the way that he put that work in. So when it comes to trends, like, you know, the science is a science, and things that work, that always worked since Don Chu and Jim Santos at Cal State Hayward, when they was killing it back in the day, and Marcel Heaton and these guys were killing it, and Hayward State, was on top. Like, you can change things up and put a new makeup on it or whatever. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So these trends that are trends,
Don't forget
they
to take
ain't
out
really
the trash
trends.
can.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just people doing it a different way. So, I look at, you throw a little salt and pepper on top of it, but it's still the same dish.
History repeats itself.
People repeat history if they understand and they know it.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Um, Challenges and rewards. What are some of the biggest challenges you faced as a coach, and what aspect of coaching brought you the most satisfaction?
Some of the biggest challenges that I faced was not having administrative support
Yeah.
or financial resources to be successful,
Yeah. You talked about that a little bit.
but having a mandate from the administration to be successful. Um, Many coaches give their heart and soul to a program, only to have administrators who know very little about the sport or your needs take you for granted and
Hmm.
not appreciate your energy, your effort, or your time.
Yeah.
Mm.
I got a good friend out there in the Bay, David Lawrence, who's a head coach at Sonoma State. And David's done immeasurable work in the sport in the Bay from Vallejo days. He used to send me kids back in the day. He was one of the first cats out of California that I knew that was back in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, who were helping kids get out of the hood, change it. He called me up, "Hey coach, this kid's gonna die. I need I need to send them. Can you will you take them
Hmm.
sight unseen? Send them here. Let's say these babies."
Mm.
And he turned around. Sonoma State used to be the worst team in the conference when I was down there, and he turned that program around. And they were aligned to really do some things this year, only to have the whole program administration send out an email and tell everybody that they cutting all the sports without any kind of warning. You know,
Hmm.
now you got this guy who's spent 30 plus years in the game that got to find a job. He goes to work that morning, got to come home and tell his wife and kids that I ain't got a job. No forward, like
Dang.
those things are, in stuff like that. That's one of the reasons I got out of college coaching, because I got jaded. Like, something similar, not like that, but something similar happened where my time and energy and effort was, I felt disrespected and taken for granted, and I hated the sport. I wanted to just lead a sport. I literally left the sport of track and field coaching. I didn't go
Wow.
to a track meet probably for 5 years. I didn't want to see track. I just
Wow.
coach kids,
Hmm.
because things like that, and people don't understand how much time and how much we put into this, especially if you're passionate about it, you're a real one. I guess your life. And when things like that happen, it kind of, takes you makes you have to take pause and think about what's really important in life. So you got to kind of recalibrate and make sure that I'm always I've always had the philosophy, always have an exit plan.
Hmm.
So you don't ever get caught out like that, you know. So, um, I started, it wasn't Jones Elite training at the time, but when I left East Bay, I kind of knew the had an idea of what my next step was going to be. So, not everybody has that.
Right.
Um, but the aspects that probably bring me the most satisfaction is when I see, former athletes coaching, teaching, working, or doing something of significance in the world, that I know it was because of the opportunity, that I gave them, that they're able to be doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
I also get satisfaction from just seeing former coaches having success and being impactful in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I mean, a lot to think about with you know, what's going on with the schools now, and how they pay their coaches and how they pay players. I know that's a big topic right now.
Yep. 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 A lot of changes to the landscape, and people have, a lot of people are going to have to reinvent themselves. If they don't have a plan, because I mean, it kind of writing's been on the wall for a while, and it's just coaches, being prepared and putting themselves in position, to change with the changes.
Yeah. Last question for you. Uh, Talking about future goals. Looking ahead, what are your aspirations for Jones Elite Training, and how do you plan on continuing to make a positive impact on your athletes and the broader sports community?
Well, my future aspirations are kind of to find a way to grow and offer training to the masses using technology, while still keeping the personal touch of relationships, which I
Mm-hmm.
think is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I want to be able to have a company that has the ability to offer employment opportunities, to many of the same athletes who came up and developed under Jones Elite Training. I plan to continue to mentor and develop coaches, and continue to cultivate relationships with parents and the community.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely making sure to keep that relationship is something that is super important to me too. When I'm even looking for a coach for the kids or anything, I want somebody that who can take the time to um, see them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Man, you gave us a lot to think about. You gave us a lot of knowledge. Um, wow, wow, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes, sir.
Coach Ralph Jones. Thank you for joining us today. And spending your time with us, and this is going to be a good one. I already know this is going to be a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, tune in. Uh, Go see Coach Ralph Jones if you're in the North Carolina area. Ralph Jones, Jones Elite Training. Um, you're going to get quality. You heard it from him. I mean, he broke it down for you all. Go and get that console done. Try and get yourself a 13, 18 score,
We don't
and
want
let's.
no 13. We want
Nah,
20.
he want that 24. He want that 24. Come on in with that 24.
uh, yeah.
13, we got
Anything.
some work to do.
Yeah.
The price
Coach,
just went up.
anything you want to add? Say to the people.
um, no, the biggest thing is, for any aspiring athletes, um, is, whatever it is that you want to do, just do it to the best of your ability. Coaches can give you opportunity, but they can't give you determination and desire. One of the things I tell my athletes all the time: become so determined to reach your goals that you convince yourself you will achieve them. So,
Mm,
you know, you can really accomplish whatever you put your mind to, as long as you have the discipline, to follow through. and for everyone else, just in all that you do, just remember to, keep God first, glorify him in all that you do. And the golden rule, treat people how you want to be treated.
That's right.
A
Coach
gem
J,
dropper.
man, thank you again, Coach. It's been a
I
pleasure.
appreciate you guys, and good luck. Continue to do great things with this podcast, and make sure I get a link so I can promote y'all too as well.
Yes, sir.
Most definitely.
All right, you guys have a good night. Good night.